Okay, let me share my screen. I'm creating a new project setup for your batch. New project. So class about 14. April 25. So far you have also created the project, correct? So you can see here, once a project has been set up, we have a default libraries. Default folders, and you can see interpreter is getting updated. All the skeletons and required the things is getting updated in the backend. So yeah, all the projects we are creating, that project have a virtual environment. This virtual environment is tell about your entire project. What are the things you are required? What are the things? What are the form? The module you are using? What are the libraries you have installed? And what are the libraries you are using for this specific project? Everything will be getting coming here. That is called a virtual environment.
Excuse me, sir. Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
So have you started recording, sir? You told remind, right?
Yes. You can see here, right? When it is showing, it will be, you can see in your left hand side, the top.
Okay, okay, sir.
It's recording. So in the virtual environment, we have a different folders, library and scripts. All the inbuilt scripts will be maintaining here, and libraries. Library is supposed to, by default, we have a pip folder. Wherever and whatever libraries we are installing, everything will be getting stored over here for the project. So before moving into Selenium, I'll be taking some basic concepts from Python. Then we can move forward with Selenium. Okay, fine. Let me create the directory. So how to create the directory? What is directory? Directory is nothing but it is a folder. In that folder, we are creating a file in order to do the program. So there is always there will be some structured format is there. We need to follow that format. Then only the entire project setup will be looking nice, and it will be easy access, and the code maintenance, the project architecture will be as expected. Otherwise, everything will be getting messed up. Okay. So always create a folder in order to do the program. How to create the directory? Keep in your project, do the right click. Here you have an option called new. Here the option called new. Here you can see there is a directory and a Python package. There is a difference between package and directory. Python package is a library. Is a user-defined library, which means that sometime the program which is developing by us, we can convert that program as a library. So how we are using Selenium? In Python, we have a n number of libraries are there. That is provided by Python. But sometime in our project, we require a Python package on our own. from our own code. So at the time, what we can do, we can create that program as a Python package instead of directory. There is a lot of difference between directory and Python package. You can see the icons also will be different. Directory is empty folder, but package is nothing but it is not an empty folder. When you are creating a package, you will have a constructor file. We will see about constructor in the future classes. Now we will be moving to create the directory. Once you click, you will get the pop-up. So always when you are creating a project, a directory, or any file, the naming convention you are providing is in the smaller case. Okay, smaller case, and it should be as a meaningful name. So for example, here we are doing a learning, Selenium learning. So I'm creating as a directory as a Selenium learning. The name should be meaningful and everything should be in the lowercase. If you are using a different word in the naming convention, you have to segregate it or separate it using underscore each word. Okay, you should not provide like this. You should separate with underscore. Hit enter. You will get the directory. So that you need to ensure always the directory should be coming inside of this project, not inside of the any other folder like a virtual environment, because this virtual environment is providing by Python by default. We should not create anything under over here. The folder which you are creating, it should be coming under this project. Then we have created the directory here. Then click right click, open it. Here you have a Python file. Click this. You have a 3 options: Python file, Python unit test, Python stub. So in the Python file, you have to click Python file, provide the name. Again, here the naming convention should be make sense, and it should be smaller case with separated by underscore when we are providing a multiple words. Python basics. .py file. When we are creating a Python file, .py is mandatory. How we are creating an image file or text file, there will be extension like a .txt, .jpg, .png, because that extension is tell us about what type of file it is. Similarly, Python file also we need to provide the extension as a .py, then only interpreter will able to understand that this is a Python file. So that is mandatory, we need to give. Hit enter. We have created the Python file. We have created the project. Inside the project, we have created the directory. Inside the directory, we have created the file. This is a place we need to write our program. Before going into Selenium, I will be seeing some concepts for Python. So I will be giving some high-level explanation, some basic concepts. First thing is interpreter. Okay, interpreter, compiler. So if someone is not muted, please click a mute. Not muted. Compiler. Prishita, please make you mute yourself. I will make you mute. Thank you. Okay. Compiler and interpreter. Not only in Python, all the programming languages, we have an interpreter and a compiler. But in Python, we have only interpreter, compiler also we have, but not separately. All the programming language, separately we have an interpreter and a compiler. But in Python, we have only the interpreter. It doesn't have a compiler. Compiler is inbuilt with the interpreter. Okay, it is inbuilt with the interpreter. We don't want to. We don't have a compiler separately in Python. What is the purpose? Why we require this? Give me a minute. What minute? Sorry. Give a minute, guys. I will be back in 2 minutes. Okay. I'm sorry for that. Compile. So these are basics and mandatory when we are doing a programming. So what is interpreter? So we have installed a Python yesterday, 3.13 version. That is called interpreter. What it will do? Why you require an interpreter? The interpreter having the interpreter only will understand our program and it will give the output. How it will understand and it will give the output. In the interpreter, we have a compiler. This compiler helps to compile the program. Whatever the program we are doing, it will compile the program and it will convert our programming language. Programming language is our human language, correct? Because human readable language. That human readable language is converted into binary language. Binary language is a computer language. It is only 0 and 1. So it will convert the human readable language into binary language. That binary language is getting understood by the interpreter, and it will create the output in the binary format. And that output again converting by the compiler as binary format into human readable language. That output we are getting in the end. So what are things happening? When we running the hit button, when we hitting the run button, human readable language converting into binary language, then it will be converting, it will be understanding this binary language and creating the output in the form of binary language. And again, it will be converting into human readable language. We are getting the output here. This is our input and we are getting the output. This is not only happening over in our program. Even though in our computer, when we are searching for calculator or anything, how everything is getting understand, how it is working here. This CALC is converting into binary language in the fraction of second, and it will be going into checking in the memory in the binary format. That will be converting into human readable language, and it will be giving the output here. The same concept is applying in our program. This everything will be happening in fraction of second. So this interpreter will give the output. So whenever this interpreter having some rules and regulations, it will follow all the rules and regulations of Python. Because when we are doing the program of Python, there will be certain rules. The program should be in this way. We need to follow certain procedure. That all the procedures are updated in the backend in the Python. That is the version is 3.13. That interpreter, when we are writing our program, it will understand that program and it will check with the rules, whether the program which we created, it is matching with the rules. If it is not matching, if it is something different, the expected program, it will throw an error by the interpreter. So these all the things will be doing by the interpreter and the compiler. Any doubt here? Fine. The next thing. So before moving to the topic, I will tell you what are the topics you have to be understand when you are ready for your interview. Okay. In the Python aspect, you have to learn variables, data types, all the data types, and its built-in methods. This is a very, 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 very important concept, not only for your interview aspect. In the world, all the programmer will be strong in this data type. They won't learn or they won't understand or they won't expert in the advanced concept. Everyone will be strong in the basics. Okay, so data types you have to understand, because entire Python we are playing only with the data type. Okay, we have 9 different types of data types. 9 different types of data types. All the data types we have a building methods, in building methods, that you understand how it is working. Then conditional statements, looping, oops, functions. Oops is a very, very important. Okay. Functions, oops. Until here, it is the intermediate level of Python. At least you should be very familiar on all this topic, at least when you are attending the interview. Then advanced topic, file handling and libraries. Lot of libraries is there, popular libraries which they are using in somewhere in the Selenium automation, like OpenCV, NumPy, Pandas, SciPy, etc. There are multiple libraries are there. These libraries are like Selenium. How we are using Selenium for automation. Likewise, OpenCV is for file handling, image reading, some AI stuffs. NumPy is a numerical Python. Pandas is the file handling Python. SciPy is a science Python. So these are the stuffs. At least you need to know. These are very, very important and popular frameworks in Python. So these are coming under the advanced topics. Okay. So file handling is not advanced topic. These are basic. So expectation. These are at least you have to be understand or manageable position when you are attending the interview. Okay, fine. I will be telling whenever we are doing the program, we will be seeing something, concepts from looping, conditional statements, variables, and from the OOPS, we will be learning about class, functions, and object. Right. Okay, let's move on to the topic. What is mean by class? What is mean by functions? What is mean by object? This is a very, very basic and important concept, not only in Python. All the object-oriented programming language, these three concepts are very, very important. Without this, there is no program available in the market. Okay, it is very, very basic and important. What is mean by class? Class is a keyword. Class is a keyword. It is a combination of variables and methods, or we can say functions. In some programming language, they will be saying as a function. Some programming language, they will be calling it some methods. Similarly, variables or attributes. So what is meant by class? Class is a keyword. It is a Python keyword. Okay. Inside the class, how the class will be created? It is a combination of variables and methods. And or sometimes class have both. Sometimes the class have only variables or only methods. Then functions. 1 minute. Okay, so functions. What is meant by functions in Python? Def is a Python keyword to understand that is a function. How in class we have a keyword class. Similarly, when we are saying a function, Python interpreter will understand when we are using a def. Def is nothing but it is a define. That is a Python keyword. It have a block of code for any specific action. Only remember that always the function have only specific action with some block of code. That is called function. What is mean by object? It is the blueprint of class. This person is very, very important person because Python is a object-oriented programming language. Java, object-oriented programming language. C# object-oriented programming language, which means that a program anywhere, any program is based on the object. All the program is oriented only based on the object. So who is very, very important person? So we need to understand what is object, how to access the object, how it is working, why we are creating an object. That technical things we need to understand. So object, simply we can say object is a blueprint of the class. That's it. Or instance of the class. Fine. Until here, any doubt you have? Not understanding anything?
No, sir.
Sir, what is instance, sir?
Instance, I will tell you. I'm going to do the program. I will tell you what is meant by instance.
Okay, sir.
Good. So how to define a class? How to define a class? So what is a definition for class? Class is a Python keyword. It is a combination of variables and method. So we need to define a keyword. CLASS. It is a keyword, which means that when we are saying a CLASS in the smaller case, interpreter will understand. I have already said, right? Interpreter have some set of rules. That rules understand that this is a class. If it is a class, it should follow some certain procedures in order to attain the programming expectations of Python. So we have given as a class keyword. So when we are declaring a class, we have to give some name. That is an identification name. So that class name we can give. For example, we are doing an automation. We are doing an automation for Facebook, for example. Okay, we are doing an automation for Facebook. So we will be giving a name for the class is Facebook. Because what is class? Class is a combination of variables and methods. All the test cases. Okay. So for example, Facebook having a 50 test cases for automation, for testing. Okay. This 50 test cases will be segregating into 10. Okay. It will be segregating into 10. 10. So they will be segregated 10 based upon the modules or windows. For example, this 10 cases only for the login page. This 10 is for once we opened that in the Facebook, we have options. We have a multiple options are there about user details. Here, this 10 is for some test cases. Like this, they will be segregating the test cases. So this 10 test cases only coming here. So login, Facebook login. We have all the 10 test cases will be created as a 10 different functions. For example, def is a keyword when we are defining a function for login page. It have a block of code, block of automation code for login page. Similarly, next function for sign in button, clicking the sign in button. Sign in button. It will do only clicking the sign in button. So likewise, this class only have a functions, all the functions related to only Facebook login. Then we have another class for about user. So when we saying about user, we will have a multiple options for user, setting the privacy, deleting the history, deleting the chats, where we can provide some more options for the users, right? That will be segregating with the respective functions. That functions, all the functions having the automation of the specific scripts. So likewise, all the test cases will be segregating into different test cases that will be creating in the different classes. Each class is having a specific methods. So when we coming into Facebook login, okay. Facebook login. See here, we have a class. When we defining a class, we are providing the name. This is a user defined name, which is providing by us. That name should be more meaningful. And the rules is that when we are creating a class name, see here now we have some warning symbol which is in the underline of that name, because when we are creating a class, the first character of the word should be uppercase when it is a class. Similarly, when we have a multiple words, each word first case should be uppercase, and we should not use underscore here. Okay, when it is a class, we should not use underscore. Each word first character should be uppercase. That is a class declaration. This is called class declaration. So the syntax is class keyword, user defined name, and a colon. Why are we giving a colon? So colon telling to the interpreter the class declaration is get complete. Class declaration is completed. So the next line is belongs to the class. See here, I'm keeping my cursor here, when I'm hitting the enter button, you can see the cursor is something inside in the class. That is a rule. That is why we are saying that interpreter having some set of rules. That rules we supposed to follow. This concept is called indentation concept. Indentation concept in Python. In Java, we don't have a indentation concept. Instead of that, they will be using a curly braces in order to separate the lines. Here, we don't have a curly braces concept. We have an indentation. That indentation concept tell you the each line which is belongs to which one. See here, you can see here line, right? Class is something in the beginning of the lines, but you can see These two functions, you can see something inside to the class, which means that they are belongs to this class. Here you can see here I have created a new class. That class not inside the class, which is in the same indentation, which means that this one is a separate class who is not belongs to this class. So in order to, we are telling this differentiation to the interpreter, we need to follow the indentation. Whether this class is belongs to this class or both are independent. This separation, how interpreter will understand based on these indentations. Fine. What is mean by class? It is a combinations of variables and methods. We have defined only methods. These are method declaration. Method declaration. This is also method declaration. In single class, we may have n number of functions, n number of variables. There is no restriction. Okay. If we created a n number of variables and n number of functions, everything belongs to single class. So we have created the methods, but we have not created the variables. How to create the variables? Variables, I'm creating name. It's a Facebook, right? Facebook means user. You can say username as well. I'm giving some passwords. So these are variables. So what is meant by variables and why we require variables? Variables are used to store the value. It is a very, very basic question. What is meant by variable? Variable is used to store the data, or we can say store the value in our memory. Why we need to store the value in memory? Then only we can able to reuse the same value over anywhere in our functions, in our program. So without storing, we cannot able to reuse it that. So variable are used to store the data. When we are storing the data, then only we can reuse that value. What is the syntax of variable? This is the syntax. How the syntax will be? We need to provide the name. So name, user defined name. Again, the name should be more meaningful. Meaningful means x equal to 100. Have just given the variable name as x and given the value is 100. In other term, I will be creating as a numeric 100. So in the both are variables. Both are variables. But see, in the two lines, the second line is making more sense. We are making to understand that it is a numeric value. But here, x is a random word. We cannot able to understand what it is. So always the variable name we are providing based upon the value. What the value is referring to. Here we are giving the value is user. So it is a username. And we have provided the password. So we are giving the name as a password. So please follow the same concept when you are doing a program. Okay. So this is the variable. Variable syntax is variable name, value, and it is an assignment operator. In without programming languages, we are calling this as a equal to in the mathematical terms. But in Python, we should not say this is a equal to, because we have a equal to in Python. When we have a double equal to, it is a equal to. This is equal to in Python, but this is operator. Just the topic here. Python variables operator. So it is an assignment operator, which means that we are assigning this value to this variable. That is what it means. So it is a variable name, it is assignment operator, and it is a value. Here the value is a string data type, but there is no restriction. Any value will be, this is a string data type. String data type means when the value having a single quotes or double quotes, it is considered as a string data type. In Python, we have a different data types we have. Okay, 9 different types of data types: string, integer, float, complex, list, set, tuple, dictionary, none, boolean, frozen set, binary. So these all the data types you should be understand. That is mandatory and expectation. Any one of the data type will be assigning as a value here. Assigning as a value here. Okay, so please understand the concept, because these all the inbuilt data types. These all the data types we having a inbuilt function. For example, it having functions, it having a 10 inbuilt functions. Likewise, all the data types having a inbuilt data types, inbuilt functions. All the inbuilt functions having its own action and own characteristics.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
What is the difference between Boolean and binary?
Boolean and
Binary.
binary.
Yeah.
Binary is something is a binary format. Everything will be 0 and 1. 0 and 1. Any value. Sometime we will be doing encoding. I will show you the example. I will tell you Boolean is only true or false. True or false is a Boolean data type.
So like 0 is can't we say that 0 is false and 1 is true?
Yes. We can say that.
Then there will be no difference, right?
No. I will explain. I will explain you on this. In a minute. There is a more different in that. Let me show you. Minute, it is loading. Give me a minute. I'll show you something different from here. Data types. So when we are saying a binary types, it will have a bytes array, memory view. What is meant by binary types? When we are saying a binary types, everything will be in the binary format. Not only when we are saying a 0 and 1, it will be. It have a meaning. 0 means it have a meaning is a true and 1 is a false. But even though if have that meaning, we cannot consider that as a Boolean data. That is a meaning. So when we are coming into binary data types, let me show you that. Because see, we have a bitwise operator. These bitwise operator are binary operators. So when we have a binary formats, then only we can able to use this bitwise operator. Here you can see there are a multiple operators or we have. These operators are having some set of meaning which will be understanding and comparing in the binary objects. Binary objects is it will be 0 and 1. For example, we are checking that comparison here. 6 and 3 are same. What this pipe symbol will do? It is a binary concept. 6 will be converting in the binary format. This value is binary value. 3 for 3 it is a binary value. And here it will be doing the calculation. According to the calculation, we are getting the output. That output is considering this is a 7. That 7 is we are getting the output. Even though 0 is a true, 1 is a false, we cannot consider this as a Boolean data type. Boolean data type is only returning the output as a true and false. That's it. It won't do any calculation in the binary level. All networking programming languages will be doing in the binary concepts. Give me a minute. You got it? Someone asked that question, right?
Yes, I got it.
Okay. Yeah. So don't make confused because Boolean is only true and false, but binary is something different. Okay, fine. Let me come to the topic again. So variables is nothing but it is used to store the data. These values are storing in some memory level over in our location. For reason. I'm sorry, guys. My laptop got shut down. Okay. Coming back to the topic, class. Class, it is a declaration. So when we are doing the class declaration, the naming convention is important. Similarly, when we are declaring a function, we should not use uppercase anything here. If we are using a multiple words, it should be separated with underscore, and all the names should be always lowercase. If we have provided anything uppercase, it will raise any error? No, it won't raise any error. It won't throw any error. So your program works fine. But there is a rules is there. We need to follow that in order to make our program to be looking wise and following the procedure in the correct way. That is why we are following the function in the smaller case, classes in the uppercase. Fine. In this function, it having a block of code only for login page. Here only having a block of code only for the sign in button. That's it. How to access this? So we have some program here, attributes and values, and here also we have some program. Here also we have some program in the each method. How to access that? We need to access, right? Always remember that when any program inside the class, that program belongs to that class. If anything is inside the class, we can able to access that only using that object. Only using the object, we can able to access the functions and variables. We can able to access the both variables and methods inside the class. Using an object only we can able to access. We can, other than that, we cannot able to access directly. For example, I have given a print statement here, hello, and a print statement sign in button. So even though if I run my program, I won't get the output here, because this print statement which is inside the function, if I want to access this, I need to create an object. What is meant by object? How we are storing this value in some memory location by using this variable name. Similarly, we are storing the entire class in some memory location using one variable. We should not say a variable, it is an object, but it will be looking like a variable only. When the value is storing to some name, it is a variable. It is a considering as a variable. Similarly, when we are creating you can see the both syntax will be looking like same. Not looking like same, it is a same. Here we are storing some value, but here we are storing a entire class. Here we should not say this is a variable, this is an object. Use a define name, any name we can define. There is no restriction. Okay, for understanding, I'm giving as an object here. That is why we are saying this is a blueprint of the class. Whatever it is inside to the class, everything will be storing into this one variable. That is why Pythons are saying as an object-oriented programming language. All the programming languages, all the programs in the Python, it is based upon the object. We can able to access only through the object. Okay. So, fine. If I want to access anything from the method, I need to use the object, then only I can able to access it. And coming into instance, why we are saying this is an instance? Because so when we creating a value to the variable, immediately it will create a memory location and it will store in some memory location. But not like variable, it will be storing. When we are creating an object, it would store in the memory location immediately. It will be storing in the runtime. What will happen when we hitting the run button, the program start runs. When the interpreter coming to this line, then only the memory location will create for this object. Then only the entire values, entire program will be storing into the specific memory location. That is why we are saying this as an instance of the class. Got it? Any doubt until here? Okay, there is no doubt there, right? Fine. I'm stopping here. Okay, I will move the further classes tomorrow. So far, we have completed the class declaration, how to create the variable and why we are using a variable, and what is mean by method declaration, how to define the method declaration, what are the how the naming convention should be, and we have seen how to create the object and purpose of the object. We have seen so far. So tomorrow we will be seeing how to interact with the functions and the variables which is inside to the class. Okay, and we will be seeing about self. There is one person is newly showing here, right? Self. We will see what is meant by self and why it is required and when the self will be we can use at what time. So these are the some stuff we will be seeing in the tomorrow class. If anyone have a doubt, let me know, or we can wind up for today. If you have a no doubt, I will take the attendance. I missed to take the attendance yesterday. 1 minute. Because this group, this batch, we're having a multiple persons are there. I missed that yesterday. Let me make a note of this. Bye. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Have a nice day. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So when can we get?
Yeah.